received an email a few weeks ago from the rector of a North Georgia mountain parish. It was a heads up. Someone or someones had come in to visit him. They had a request. Would you perform a private baptism for our infant child or grandchild? He said what I would have said, no, unless there were some very unusual circumstances. Getting baptized, being baptized, is dangerous. It is naming yourself or your infant child to be in cahoots with the subversive. Jesus died, and Christians, followers of Jesus, still die throughout the world because they have taken on that name that we all share, Christian. We baptize into a community of nurture and care. We do not just baptize and send the newly baptized out among the wolves to live with their dangerous chrism and name. No, we baptize into a family and into a home. There is a man who lives on a remote island in Puget Sound. That is to say, he was there 40 years ago when he was 30, and I first learned of him. I do not know if he is still around, though I hope he is. He lived in his cabin alone with a wishing stone. Each day he attempted to teach this stone to talk, to speak. Each day he attempted to teach this stone to say just a word or two. He was serious about what he was doing, and I hope he still is. He went about his work ritually and sacramentally, and with an expectation of return. I suppose there are not many here aware that it is the rainy season in Tanzania. Not only have the rains come, but they have come like infrequently in the past with devastation. From Dar es Salaam on the Indian Ocean to Doma, 300 miles to the west, the rains and the floods wrought death and suffering. I believe that we would find our village of Tanai inaccessible because the roads leading to it, the single road leading to it, would be a mud river. So our prayers are again with the people of the Diocese of Central Tanganyika. The point of telling you this is not just information and one more thing to pray about. The point is that a case can be made that the world, nature, is indifferent. It is a cold, cruel, soulless place of uncaring and profound silence, moral silence. And the man on Puget Sound Island will never hear his stones sing. We live on a trajectory of faith that denies this, that the world is morally indifferent, that denies this despite the appearances. We live on a trajectory that began with the disclosure of Moses that the world is in fact moral. It matters how we live because morality is within the very structure of the universe. He heard this from the mountains. And that trajectory moves to the great prophets of the 8th and the 6th century BC. Isaiah, Jeremiah, Ezekiel, Amos, Hosea, and the others. Their disclosure on this trajectory is that it matters because the very structure of the universe and the nature of the Creator, not only to be good, but to do good, to care for those without, for those who suffer. Elijah, the greatest prophet, heard this in the still small voice in the mouth of a cave on the side of a mountain. Stones somehow speak. John the Baptist is a point on this trajectory that Jesus himself endorsed and then supplanted. John said, get what's behind you, forget about it. Do not be troubled by your past faux pas and failures. Live from now on righteously, and wait and listen for God to speak as if a wishing stone on your shelf. And Jesus, though he was equal to God, did not let equality with God prevent him from entering into profound solidarity with humanity, and he was baptized by John the Baptist. And this Jesus became our point on the trajectory par excellence. He said, listen to the birds of the air, ponder the flowers of the field, love your enemy. These things speak to us of God, and this Jesus himself we proclaim to be the Word of God, God speaking to us by and through his life. The stone which the builders rejected, it is written in Peter, became the cornerstone of our faith. A faith which is essentially and radically communal. And so we are gathered here not as individuals, but as a family with a shared surname, Christian, given to each of us at our baptism. A name we share with those in the Sudan who still suffer on account of this name, and those with the name who suffer in Tanai and countless other places where it might appear that the world is indifferent. But we are the voice that denies that indifference. The conscience of the world is our vocation. We are gathered as a family with our silent stone on our shelf. The altar is our shelf. Our stone is the bread, the wine, and the water. We gather ritually and sacramentally. We gather unself-consciously and transparently, that we might allow our stone to channel its work and we might hear. We gather sacrificially, not to have our own voices authenticated, but that we might hear as the ancients heard, a high inhuman chord, light years away, out of a cleaner space, a more innocent age, as when pilot angels, with crystal eyes and streaming hair, rode planets through the skies, and each one sang a single ravishing note that melted into the music of the spheres. And this ravishing note might sing to us, the silence is all there is. It is the Alpha and the Omega. It is God's brooding over the face of the waters. It is the blended note of the 10,000 things, the wine of wings. You take a step in the right direction to pray to the silence and even to address the prayer to world. Distinctions blur. Quit your tents. Pray without ceasing. But this will not speak to you alone. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.